You found us.
Welcome to Emergency Protocol, a podcast for people who are stressy and depressy.
We are your hosts,
Denise
and Jackie Freed. That's my mama.
And that's my baby.
We are sharing our 12 steps reimagined for today's society.
And our bumpy, pothole-ridden spiritual paths.
And we're bringing you along for the ride.
This is us doing the actual work.
When the shit hits the fan, you know it's time for Emergency Protocol.
Hi.
Hi.
We're back.
We're back.
Here we are. Hi.
Hello. If you're watching, this is the one time you'll see me with my hair blow dried.
Yes.
I just got a cut. So
And it looks so demure.
So mindful.
So mindful.
Yes.
Yes. It's been a minute since you got your hair cut.
Yeah, last summer. Yeah.
Is that
Natalie was like, I didn't even know you could grow your hair this long. I was like, I didn't either.
She had to go.
It was, no, really. She was doing like a full arm reach. It was almost down to my butt. I needed to cut it.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, feeling fresh.
Feeling fresh is good.
Yeah.
So this week we were kind of coming up with what we wanted to talk about, and we settled on connections because of just what is going on in our lives and what we've been up to.
Yes. Seems to be a big thing, like a big theme overall right now that I'm seeing too.
Right.
Right? Everybody's talking about connection and community, and because I think we're all feeling the lack of it.
Exactly. And I think it's...
Or at least I am. I won't speak for all of y'all out there, but...
And I think a lot of people are. I hear it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So I think it's timely, and also, there's so many ways to find connection. So last week I took myself on another date. On Sunday, I went up to a little town in Southern California called Summerland, which is between LA and Santa Barbara, closer to Santa Barbara. And these two women opened a bookstore called Godmothers. And I've been following one of the co-founders on Instagram because she has published a lot of books, and she's done these events that we've attended in the past, and saw that there were these opening weekend events. Yeah. And I was like, all right, I'll sign up for that. And they were free. And I was like, okay. So I signed up for one. Yeah. Then I signed up for another one. And I ended up going up there. And first of all, the bookstore is delicious.
So cute.
It's just everything you'd want a bookstore to be. And it turns out it was designed by this designer that I follow. I don't follow many designers on Instagram, but this man I follow turns out was the designer for it, which I didn't even know. And then, so I signed up for the first thing, which was an interview. One of the co-founders of the bookstore, her name is Jennifer Rudolph Walsh. She was previously working at WME, global head of literary lectures and conferences. And she was their first female board member.
Cool.
Which is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And she was and she also produced Oprah's tour of The Life You Want. And she's also kind of helped give birth to all of these books. Brene Brown, like you could just go on and on and on. So there's lots of reasons why I've been following this woman online, because I love the messages that that she's been helping get out there. And she was interviewing Whitney Wolfe Herd, who is the founder of Bumble, and also co-founded Tinder, which I didn't know. And she was the youngest female to ever IPO a company. And their topic was on connection. So I signed up for that. And then I got as I was scrolling through and getting the confirmation of that, there was like this other thing that was happening 1 hour before, which was like this immersive sound experience with Milk, M-I-L-C-K. And if you don't know her, she is like the #1 protest song, I think, of the year, called Quiet. And it's beautiful. And she led us through some breathing exercises and sang these beautiful songs. And it was like tears in your eyes kind of moment where you're just feeling the power of this woman and her words. And it's in this very small, intimate bookstore. It was just kind of a surreal experience to be among these really powerful women who have stepped into their power and own it and are not like, I have my power. They're like, come with, right? It was like, and in one of the topics that Whitney was talking about was even replacing herself as CEO of Bumble, and what it took for her to lift up another woman when she was getting all this pushback about having to hire a man for the job and of her own company, right? And so, which by the way is a kind of women-centric dating app. So it's just like, but she also talked about Bumble BFF, which is where women were finding friends, and it was all about connection and love and inclusiveness and being seen and being heard and being valued for and in your diversity and all of that. And so it was just a really nice thing. So I was in a bookstore, which
already happy,
but they redid this beautiful, it was an antique store that has been there forever. This big old white barn right off the Highway 1, which is also spectacular because you have the Pacific Ocean on one side. And then it was just these little intimate spaces in there that were so beautifully done and curated. So automatically I was just like in my happy place. And then to hear these women, and then I just left there still feeling the joy. I actually I commented on one of their posts from the store about how I still feel this joy a week later from people that have the means to create a space like that and create a space like that. Not because they don't have to do it. No. Right? They could just, I mean, Jennifer talked about, or they wrote about that they're raising mini cows and donkeys and stuff like that. Like she could be in her little farm living her best life, retired from that. And instead is using her voice for good, right? And for community and for bringing people together. And one of the comments that they made online was like, people go in the store and they're like, I don't know why, but I feel like crying, because it's like, I think we've lost that sense of, in the old time bookstores, like they created it where it's like, there's couches and there's chairs and there's places to sit and like get into it, right?
The like third space niche.
Yes. And so anyway, this is all not a total promotion for Godmothers, but it is a promotion for Godmothers because we need more spaces like that. I mean, it was so powerful to be in a space that was created for that, for people to come together, for voices to be heard, for talks to be given, for music to be listened to, for, communities to have events at and, celebrate life. So, and I think that it's not coming at a random time. Yeah. Because I think you can kind of tell which direction Jackie and I lean to in the politics arena. But about a month and a half ago or 2 months ago, it was like, shit, do we need to move to Canada? Do we need to move to like Copenhagen? Like what in the hell?
Researching visas,
right? Like I was going to dinner with friends and they were like, what is going to happen if this goes south? And it looked like it was going south, right? And then on a dime, when Biden stepped down and Kamala stepped in, right? Like she stepped in. Yeah. And you could feel the power of her. I think I felt the power of her for the first time. So I think there's this hope, at least amongst my women friends, and I don't know what the men are saying because haven't really talked to them about it, but I know that my women friends feel so much hope and so much inspiration to do what they can to put a woman in the White House. Yeah. Especially a woman of color. Yeah. They're all happy with Tim Walz. They're all happy with all of this stuff. And, so I know you ordered postcards and I ordered postcards to write to swing states.
Yeah.
And so we decided to have a Halloween party where we've invited our friends to come write postcards to swing states. I don't know where your state is, but I think mine are all in Florida.
I think a lot of mine are Florida too.
And I ordered 500 postcards, so I was ambitious, but I was like, okay, I can assemble a troupe to get over here and write postcards. And if not, then I'll sit like I did last election and watch The Handmaid's Tale and get all pissed off and write them all myself. Like I'll do it. Right. And so, and that feels really good. Right. So last night we created the paperless post and today we sent out the invitation, and that feels like another way of pulling people together in the spirit of joy and the spirit of service and in the spirit of like, I can do something and I am going to do something and I'm not going to do it alone. And that feels really good. Yeah. So that's where my week has been. On top of that, last week, and I don't think this is any coincidence, last week on Wednesday, I had my regular sales meeting in my office. And that morning I was inspired to ask everybody to post one thing they're grateful for online, that it needed to be specific and personal. And we were going to do it for 30 days and see how our attitude and outlooks change within that 30 days of just practicing looking for things to be grateful for. Yeah. And I for sure have noticed a shift in my own being every day, even with the trials of everyday life. Yeah. Because I'm looking for something that's worthy of the post that day. Right. And so I'm always looking for what's the little, what's the little yummy thing I'm going to find today. And then when you're looking for yummy shows up. Yeah. And so that has been, and I know that the gratitude game that we've talked about and whatever, it always works, but it feels good to be doing it again as a group. And so they're posting and we're sharing each other's stories and reposting. You get the dopamine
hit from social media.
Yeah, right. Which I really only go to at the end of the day. Like I go in the morning for a minute because I don't have a lot of time in the morning. Yeah. And then I go in at night kind of before I go to bed to kind of check on my people. And then send you probably 5 or 6 memes of whatever the memes are for the day, and then go to bed.
Yep. Pretty much.
So that was my week. How was your week?
My week was good, fine. It wasn't good, but it wasn't bad. So I guess that's good. I'm on week 6 of this new medication. And I definitely feel a difference in the morning. Like my alarm goes off and I'm like not completely resentful of the fact that I woke up again. So that's good. I'm able to like get out of bed closer to when I should be getting out of bed. And I think in general, I'm like having some relief from those, like from the constant like weight of it, right? And also I think I can feel it happening, but also I think other people, like people who see me regularly, are noticing that I'm different, right?
I see
even my therapist was like, oh, like you seem better, like you seem more upbeat, etc. So so we're gonna stay with just this medication for like what I'm currently doing for another 4 weeks, and then I'm gonna have another doctor's appointment. And I think it's actually important to talk about this. Like I had an appointment scheduled for Friday afternoon to talk to my doctor. He had to cancel. And so he randomly called on Thursday while I was on my lunch break. So I got very lucky with that timing. But if I hadn't been on my lunch break and he'd called, then it would have been really hard for me to make that accommodation. Right. And having to like schedule and like stay on top of it is like another layer to all the stuff. Right. So it's better now because I have kind of like a course, like I have a trail to follow, right? It's not as unknown, but I just wanted to acknowledge that it's still like its own thing just to do like the scheduling and the appointments to get the care, right? And also I have to do it again in 4 weeks, right? So anyways, so that's good. We're going to stay with these meds. We're going to potentially add in or change some. Well, probably won't delete. We'll probably add on if we do add anything on. And I feel really good about that. I also wanted to normalize like around any kind of like active self-help, not just like reading a book, but actually like going to any kind of 12-step meeting or doing a workbook or whatever. It's totally normal to like start and stop, right? Like I was on a kick where I went to like 2 meetings in 1 week, and then I went to the other meeting, and I was like building momentum. And then this week there were things that took my attention away. And it's really hard for me to not be like all or nothing with it and be like, oh, I'm like, it's bad that I didn't go to any meetings. I should have made time for that. And
You're
I haven't
shooting on yourself?
All over myself. So, just, yeah, kind of trying to make peace with that. My therapist said something really important this week too, or I guess maybe it was last week, but she said, maintaining is good. Right? She's like, maintaining is good, Jackie. Like we're staying steady. Right?
Right.
And so I think that was also super valuable too. Right? The other thing that I have been doing this week is meditating. Because every fucking person said that I need to be meditating. So I'm meditating. I have these Oprah and Deepak Chopra meditations that we used to listen to like years ago, like pre-pandemic. They're 20 minutes. They're pretty easy to follow. It gives you like a little mantra to kind of pull you back if you get off course. And
it's not the full 20 minutes. It's like a few minutes of Oprah speaking, a few minutes of Deepak speaking.
And it like builds up a little bit.
And then he gives you the mantra, and then there's some sounds behind that too. It's not dead silence. Yeah.
But it's still it's a 20-minute process.
It's a 20-minute process.
I'm also having to moderate my
mornings
again, which is like, you know, it's its own thing. For whatever reason, I really struggle like adjusting my schedule. So anyways, so I've been doing that. I definitely am having a wandering mind. I've got like 7 little puppies up there all scrambling around. But yeah, I'm like, I'll try it again.
Yeah.
I'll try it again.
I'm kind of off the wagon on that, and I need to get back on as well because I...
Need or want?
I need and want. I know that my like nervous system is a lot calmer when I'm meditating regularly. So like events that trigger that kind of flight or fight response in my body don't get triggered as much when I'm like even keeled. And my brain is like all over the place. So yeah, I need to hop back into that. I haven't been on that like consistent wagon, kind of like what you were talking about. And I don't really beat myself up for that kind of stuff anymore. I mean, I do if I go too long and I'm like, okay, really? You can't make the time to like take care of yourself.
Yeah.
But there's so many different things that point to like the actual scientific benefits of meditation that it doesn't make sense to not do that. Also this past week, taking care of my physical body, because I've had this pain in my back that's kind of not going away, even with trying to go to a chiropractor and get a massage and the usual things that kind of relieve a tender spot. And also my neck has not been great. And I think it's from when I slipped and fell at Disney in Tokyo. It's just tight. It's not, it just aggravated the tightness. And so I reached out to my primary physician and she said, you can come see me or you can go see someone who, an osteopath that I can refer you to. So I went to the other one, which is in a little farther and not as convenient. But made the time and took the time from work in the morning when, before I went to work, and got some referrals. And so now I need to call because they want to do a x-ray on my back and they want me to go to physical therapy, which, again, all of these things require, it's not just going to the physical therapy. It's like reaching out to the doctor, going to the doctor, waiting for the doctor to get the approval from the insurance, getting the approval from the insurance, calling the next referral, booking the appointment, then going to that appointment, right? And so it's like all of these things, kind of going back to this book David Allen wrote called Getting Things Done. You put down as a to-do, like it's one thing to do, but there's really like 8 things to do. And so that one thing to do is almost impossible because you can't just do one thing to check the box. You have to like break down the project into 8 boxes that will get you to check off that one box. And so, I think it's where we beat ourselves up is we have these things that, again, we should be doing. And those shoulds are not often one checkbox. It's like what you said. It's like, okay, he called to cancel. Luckily, he caught me. But if he hadn't have caught you at lunch, you would have been playing phone tag.
Right.
Maybe that day, maybe the next day, who knows when, and would have had to deal with it that way. So, it's everything seems to be a little more than what the face value of it is. But what I can say after having this week of kind of doing something fun, and before I go off on the tangent, I was just going to go on focusing on gratitude and just showing up right for myself and for others. I think it hasn't affected me in like, right? Like the just disdain of having to do chores, right? It's just like, oh, okay, I'm going to do this. And so my attitude has been a lot better just because I think I'm feeling more joyful overall. And I guess that's where I was going to go. Usually, I have a pretty hefty work week and then we do this on Saturdays. And so this is either us recording or us writing and listening. Like there's just things that we do on Saturday. So Sunday is my only day. And oftentimes I'm just in bed, like in my sweats, listening to a book, coloring, whatever. I don't really watch much TV, but I'm doing something like that. And realizing last week by taking myself out on Sunday, because I usually reserve Sundays to just decompress and not like rest my body. But I realized that I actually got more energy this past week from taking myself to do something that was super joyful, right? I didn't know it would be joyful. I had an inkling that, I mean, if it was just the bookstore, it would have been enough, right? But it was more than that. So
I almost wanted to say Dianu after that. But yes, continue.
So I think, what I realized is I need to balance more my Sundays with doing something joyful that feeds my soul in a really nice way that makes me out in the world in the sunshine, looking at the ocean, looking at like books, seeing other people, experiencing interactions.
Or going to like an Angel City game.
Or going to Angel, So things that bring me joy, I do need to make some time for, but also probably reserve some days for that kind of pancake in the bed, do nothing and have to go nowhere and speak to no one and eat when I'm hungry and sleep when I'm tired and just kind of have a vacation day. So that was an interesting kind of wake up because, it took a lot to get me to just not book up all my Sundays and have every single spare minute full of fun things. She'll tell you I do feel that. But there is like a nice balance. And so I was like, okay, there could be joy found here and there could be I could get energy from that joy where it's not a depletion of me. Like, because driving up to Summerlin was like an hour and a half each way. It wasn't like just a little ride up the road. It was a destination for the day. So it was like 3 hours.
It was a full day.
But it was a beautiful 3 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, driving along Pacific Coast Highway, people
it's
come
almost
from
recharging anyway.
Yeah.
Right? To be on your own on a little road trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wasn't on anybody's calendar, so I got there early. I ordered a breakfast that you and I would have shared, and so I cut it in half and ate half of it. And the guy's like, "Do you want a box?" I'm like, "No, I don't want a box. I just am, eating what I want to eat." And then went to the thing and did the thing, and there were all these cute little antique stores, but I knew if I had done those on top of that, it would have then taken away.
Take the scales.
And so I was like, best to just get in the car. And then I saw like across the road, if you went over PCH and across the railroad tracks, I would be at this park with this beautiful ocean. And I was like, I can get out and do that. And I was like, no, I'm just going to enjoy the ocean from my car. I'll take PCH home and then look at Malibu all the way home. And that's what I did. And so it was just right.
Yeah.
So I think part of it is being a little intuitive to right then in the moment of, is this going to add or is this going to take? Right. Like, and I was very mindful of it. And because I didn't have anybody else, very mindful. Back to our, social. Oh my God. Yes. So, yeah. Yeah. But it feels good.
It does feel good. And I forgot to say, I went back to the Penmoir again on Friday.
Okay.
And we got free French fries because Nala is so beautiful.
What? The girl scored you some fries?
Sure did.
Wow.
The energy was different last night for sure. I think it was a smaller crowd, which was nice. Felt like more manageable, and I think people were a lot more like friendly and social than they have been the last couple of weeks because they've gone like regularly for the last month and a half, I think.
Because the kids are back in school.
Yeah, kids are. Well, no, there were still families.
Okay.
It's interesting. I mean, yeah, but we were waiting in line. I just wanted fries, and then this guy who was working who's one of the guys working in the booth was like, "Is that your beautiful dog?" to the guy in front of us in line. And he was like, "No." And I was like, "That's my beautiful dog." And he was like, "Oh," he's like, what do you guys want? Come, you can step out of line. What do you want?" And I was like, "I just wanted some fries." He's like, "That's it? Fries? Oh, step out of line. You get free fries." He's like, "This is my last day. Like, here."
This is my last day. Oh my God.
He just like threw caution to the wind, I guess. But we got free fries. Nala got to enjoy a few because,
she earned them.
She did.
Yes.
She did. So, universe is still abundant.
Yes, it is.
Still happening.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have anything else for this week. Other than we're going to do some photos tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah. We're being more, we're going to be more out there. We're taking steps to be more, I guess out there is the perfect word. I don't know if there's another word.
Not as insulated. This project has been very close to home for a really long time.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're finally at a point where I think for my continued benefit, maybe for your continued benefit, but also just like our hopes for it is like it needs to go out into the world.
Yeah.
So
out it goes.
Out it goes.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see.
Yeah. Next month.
So
we're going to relaunch.
Yeah. Teaser, relaunch
coming soon.
Yeah. Not really a relaunch. Kind of a relaunch.
Yeah, it's kind of a relaunch.
It's a relaunch.
With somebody telling us what to do, which
we need
is helpful.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So
anyways, keep taking your meds. Keep drinking water. Drink some water.
Drink some water.
Take your meds.
You're a fucking miracle.
You're a miracle.
You're a miracle.
I'm definitely a miracle.
I am definitely a miracle. Like I should be living under a bridge. If I would still even be alive today. I don't know if I would be alive today if I wasn't sober. I don't think I would. I think I would be, or I'd be really living a really funky.
You'd be like the lady's mom, the speaker from that meeting.
Oh yeah. If somebody was not nice enough to pay my rent.
Yeah.
That lady was living in an apartment only because her ex-husband paid her rent.
Yeah. Maybe we should delete that part.
Well, no, we don't know who that lady is, and nobody knows who that is. But that's,
it's the reality
yeah,
of it.
that's the reality.
Yeah. That's okay. Wait, that's also a good point. It's like we're very privileged.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Generally, things are very stable. Like we can afford to seek care.
Yes.
And I also want to acknowledge that too. There are a lot of resources out there, and I think, based on both of our experiences lately and in general, like you have to advocate for yourself no matter what, right? Even with the resources, even with the privilege, like,
well, even with
getting care,
care.
Yeah.
And even with, like, one of my friends was talking about her daughter being diagnosed with PCOS, and she kept asking for them to do the test. And they're like, no, you don't have it because of X, Y, and Z. And she kept asking. Finally, they did the test, and they're like, "Oh, you do have it, right?" And it's like, God. So even when you again, it's so kind of like listening to yourself. Like, no matter if it's at the doctor's office or you're deciding whether to go into that antique store after you've had a whole day, right? Like, just listening to yourself and your body is I don't know, it's just an easier way, unless your mind is telling you to do stupid shit. Sometimes my brain on alcohol does not tell me to do things that are going to be intuitively better for me. That's
like
going to
my brain on depression.
Yes. It's going to tell me to do like bad things.
Yes.
And so don't do that. If you can.
Yes. And it's easier to do that when you're hydrated.
Yes. So drink up.
Yeah.
And
if you are also trying to meditate, I've heard good things about the Calm app too.
Yes.
If you have resources that you think we should look into, like I'm not committed to Oprah and Deepak. I'll tinker. I'll dabble. So
do you want to know how many apps I have on meditation on my phone? But I do Calm. Calm has some great like nighttime bedtime ones.
Okay.
And there's also Headspace. There's also just a lot of apps out there that have varying prices and costs. Some are free and some cost money. And it's been a great thing to have.
Yeah.
And also I would highly recommend, if you have them, to put on headphones when you're listening, or earbuds. For me, doing the meditation, especially when everybody was still home, putting the headphones on notified the people in my house that I was unavailable for the next few minutes.
Yeah.
So if they came in wanting to talk and saw that I was there with my eyes closed with my headphones on, they know, like, Mom's doing her thing. I'm going to tiptoe back out of this room and let her finish, and then we'll all be better for it, right?
Yes.
And so if you have some sort of signal like that, especially if you live in a place where you don't have space to go lock yourself off and be quiet by yourself, having that external signal for the people around you is also very helpful.
Yeah. Or if you have a car, go sit in your car.
Yeah.
I did a lot of car sitting when I lived with you guys.
Me too.
Yeah.
When you all lived with us.
Yeah.
I was known for taking myself on a drive.
Oh, I just mean, like, I would go out there. You can go out there and meditate in your car.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I would usually drive myself to Ocean Avenue and look over the Pacific Ocean and then calm down and come back. Yeah. Thing just turned off, so I think that's our signal.
Annoying. Okay.
Bye.
We want to hear from you.
Find us on Instagram and TikTok at 12 Steps for Everyone. That's at the number 12 Steps for Everyone.
Please like and follow us. You can also send us topics you want us to dig into or follow-up questions from each episode.
And if you know someone who would enjoy or benefit from our conversations, please feel free to share this with them. All are welcome here.